gamers. It's been a few weeks. I've been being lazy. Well, not really. I've been doing other stuff. My apologies for not bringing you what's hot, new, and fresh on the gaming news front. I just spit everywhere, and I love it. Anyway, excuse me as I keep looking down at the phone, which is controlling the camera, and welcome to yet another edition of Gaming News with your boy True. Hopefully everybody's doing well. If you would like to support the channel directly, check out my Twitch page, TrueMasterson, True without the E, MasterSon, no space. There is a donate button there where you can donate to mine and my daughter's channel directly, Twinzie Toy Talk. Check it out if you have little ones. If you're a little one yourself, we do some awesome vlog type stuff on their channel for kids. Other than that, we are about to get into the news. And the first news that I would like to dive into is on the new Ghost Recon Breakpoint. It is quite a lengthy story that I've just found. Didn't really have time to do much reading this week on the news front, so you'll have to bear with your boy. Anyway, it is a review of the game that is not as cool as the video with Wheezy makes it look. The title is Ghost Recon Breakpoint is a confused mishmash of desperate ideas that struggle to coalesce in an enjoyable way. And we start in with Ghost Recon Breakpoint is uneven and conflicted. On one hand, it's a natural sequel to 2017's Ghost Recon Wildlands, offering a near-identical core gameplay loop of open-world espionage and shooting. On the other hand, Breakpoint is a messy hodgepodge of desperate ideas pulling various aspects from other Ubisoft's games and shoehorning them in half-baked and out of place. Ghost Recon's identity as a tactical shooter has evaporated and been replaced by a confusing patchwork of elements and mechanics from other better games. Its defining characteristic boils down to just how generic and stale the whole thing is. The addition of loot and ever-increasing gear score fits into a standard template of Ubisoft's recent open-world games. Whether it's The Division 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or even Far Cry New Dawn, Breakpoint fulfills its quota by including these light RPG mechanics, but the implementation of its loot grind feels like a severe afterthought. There are numerous pieces of armor to find and equip as you explore the fictional island of Aurora. The numbers attached to each one will raise or lower your gear score, but the effects this has on gameplay is entirely inconsequential. Rare loot might include small buffs like a 2% increase in stamina or a 1% increase to movement speed, yet the effects of these buffs are negligible and armor doesn't affect your damage resistance in any perceivable way. It sort of sounds stupid. A level 5 beanie offers just as much protection as a 75 level helmet. So these numbers only exist to raise your gear score. That's nothing more than a flimsy representation of your progress. You're supposed to feel good about that number rising, but it's difficult to care when there's no tangible benefits to picking one piece of armor over another. You just end up opting for whatever has a higher rating without any meaningful consideration. Choosing which weapon to roll with requires slightly more deliberation, although this is mainly due to your preference for a specific weapon type as opposed to the number attached to each. Breakpoint features the usual assortment of assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, and sniper rifles, and these firearms function similarly to armor, with rare weapons receiving minuscule buffs to aspects like reload speed and recoil reduction. Again, the impact these stats have on gameplay is paltry at best, especially because shooting at breakpoint is still geared towards landing headshots for an instant kill. This is a holdover from Wildlands and the series' early beginnings as a somewhat authentic tactical shooter. The most heavily armed grunts in breakpoint take 2 headshots to kill, one to take off their helmet, another to finish the job. But every other enemy can be extinguished with a single bullet. Weapons feel impactful as a result of this, successfully capturing the rush of being an elite special ops soldier that can take out 4 or 5 enemy combatants in a matter of seconds. But this also means that the rarity of weapons and the gear score attached to them is ultimately meaningless. You can wander into an area recommended for players with a gear score of 140 with a significantly lower score and still kill every enemy without breaking a sweat. This amount of freedom would be commendable if it didn't shine a derisive light on how shallow the RPG mechanics are. The only enemies in the game that require a specific gear score to defeat are the killer drones dotted across the island. Encounters with these unmanned killing machines are few, far, and in between, but because they don't have heads and aren't made of flesh and blood, they can be bullet sponges. Facing off against these drones is the only time the number next to your weapons actually matters. And even then, they're easier to destroy by using the rocket launchers, grenades, and mines found in your inventory, which don't even have numbers attached to them. It's another example of how Breakpoint isn't a coherent match with Ghost Recon's sensibilities, which are still reflected in the way headshots function. And the trivial impact that loot has on gameplay makes the consistent switching and dismantling of each piece of gear an unnecessary time sink. Breakpoint's paper-thin survival mechanics are similarly underdeveloped, hinting at a tense experience that never comes to fruition. You carry a flask that you can refill in lakes, rivers, and even in someone's backyard swimming pool for that sweet, tasty chlorine. Water is used to replenish any lost stamina that you've misplaced by overexerting, usually by rolling down a hillside because Aurora is nearly breathed on flat ground. The island consists of diverse biodomes, including verdant woodlands, snow-capped mountaintops, and muggy swamps. But the common through line in each environment is the presence of craggy cliffs and hillsides. As a result, traversing on foot revolves around spending a lot of time sliding down undulating slopes. This quickly drains your stamina, sending you into an uncontrollable roll that inflicts damage with each nick and bump. Health regenerates over time, but if you suffer either a minor or major injury and don't want to hobble everywhere, you need to use a syringe for instant pain relief, or spend longer wrapping yourself up with bandages. Syringes are finite, yet you have an infinite supply of bandages that almost make the mechanic moot. There are never any anxious moments of depression as you find yourself hindering with an empty medicine box. It's easy enough to wrap yourself up after a tumble, and injuries in combat are rare, even that having to find a safe spot to pause is not something you have to consider very often. There are also biovacs. I don't even know what the word is. Bivouacs. I have no goddamn idea. Spread across the map that are used as fast travel points and rest areas where you can apply specific buffs by eating, drinking, or aiming your gun at the sky to somehow improve its accuracy. You don't have to gather food because it's always available, and there's some light crafting on the docket if you have the materials to restock your supply of explosives and gadgets. Much like the loot, these light survival mechanics aren't fleshed out enough to warrant any engagement beyond the limited amount you're forced into. The story revolves around your character being stranded alone, trapped deep behind enemy lines. You're outmanned and outgunned against an elite force equipped with a stolen fleet of devastating unmanned killing machines. Stealth is encouraged, so much so that when you're prone, you can cover yourself in mud and foliage to blend into the environment and remain undetected, which I think that sounds a little cool anyway. Each of these elements place an emphasis on survival, but Breakpoint constantly skirts around the edges, never committing to mechanics that would extend beyond a feeble survival aspect already. The feeble survival aspect already included. Sort of a tongue twister. I apologize. The plane like Azrael drone occasionally flies overhead, ready and raring to rain fiery destruction down upon your helpless human body. Yet all this means is that you'll sometimes have to lie down and wait for it to pass over before you can continue with what you were originally doing. You can see the inkling of some interesting ideas here, but Breakpoint never capitalizes on these and is ultimately a generic pastiche of what's come before. The gameplay loop is almost identical to Wildlands. You send a drone into the sky, survey an enemy base, and mark targets before infiltrating in whichever manner you see fit. Navigating through a heavily fortified compound without being seen is still inherently satisfying. Each one is usually designed in a way so there are a number of enemies obscured from your drone's vision. You might be able to pick off a handful of guards from a distance using a silent sniper rifle, but at some point you have to enter and find the rest. The only thing impeding your stealthy espionage is the fact that you can't move sideways while prone. Instead, you end up with these awkward animations because you can only turn at right angles. Taking cover is overly cumbersome too. You do it automatically, but what the game deems as cover is inconsistent from one low wall to the next. And even if you do manage to get behind an object, whether you can shoot over it or not is another question. Though this would be a bigger problem if the AI were at least a bit competent. Wow, what a review. This sounds horrible. Enemies in Breakpoint are mind-numbingly dumb to the point where playing on the highest difficulty doesn't present a significantly harder challenge. Their reaction to a buddy getting shot in front of them is often one of confusion. They'll stand still in the open instead of scurrying for cover. They don't fare much better in the midst of combat either, running between the same two pieces of cover without engaging you or seemingly forgetting you exist. Occasionally they might try to flank your blind side, but more often than not their strategy boils down to charging directly at you, making it incredibly easy to line up your shots and dispatch a few in a row. Bottlenecks like corridors and doorways are by far the worst enemy though. Sit down at one end of a straight corridor and it doesn't take long before the bodies pile up. You can even shoot the ground at the entrance to the base and kill each enemy who comes to investigate. Factor in the disappointing fact that enemies don't so much as flinch when getting shot in the body, and none of this is conducive to enjoyable combat. If you can get some like-minded friends together, there's definitely some fun to be had in Breakpoint's four-person co-op. Silently clearing the base of its enemies is more gratifying with 4 people. You can plan ahead, simultaneously approach the compound through different entrances, and time sync shots together. It's more chaotic with strangers, but you can jump into matches with random players if you fancy a taste of open world chaos. There is, however, some dissonance between co-op and the story painting you as a lone soldier. Although this is much more, I have no idea, egregious, I apologize, I can't read today, in Breakpoint Social Hub. You can play the whole game solo, but the mission givers all hang out in this homely cave where you'll also find 50 or so other players. Your character is literally called Nomad, and yet you're in a space with a bunch of other nomads, all standing around the same NPC like an MMO. And it's like an MMO. And the story's not great either. Some befitting a villain with dubious moral code. The writing is mostly cheesy, though with some flat voice acting and predictable twists. The inventor of the island's killer drones develops a minor Oppenheimer complex when he realizes his creations can be used to kill innocent people. But this aspect is explored beyond surface level, and that applies to the rest of the narrative too. Much like, and now this is a quote, much like the loot, the light survival mechanics aren't fleshed enough to warrant any engagement beyond what you're forced into. The presence of the social hub and the effect it has on the diminishing the story would have been worse if the would have been worse if the story were better. As it is, the social hub seems to exist to guide players towards breakpoints, morale, microtransactions. Maybe that's an overly cynical viewpoint, but why else would you gather players in an open space other than to encourage them to show off by purchasing fancy new cosmetics? Which makes a lot of sense. You can buy tattoos, shirts, masks, hat, weapons, vehicles, and more. Purchasing in-game money also comes in denominations that ensures you're always spending more than you need. You don't have to engage with any of this stuff, and it's easy enough to ignore, but this microtransaction structure is predatory by design. It would make sense if the addition of loot were in service of guiding people to spend real money on better guns, but even then the stats are so meaningless it would take a lot of convincing. There's some surprising fun to be had stealthily infiltrating enemy compounds and playing with friends, but Breakpoint is still a generic and distinctly subpar game. It's essentially every Ubisoft open world game rolled into one, failing to excel in any one area or establishing its own identity. Breakpoint is a messy, confusing game and a ghost of the series' former self. So, quite honestly, this article is actually, now that I realize what game it's a sequel to, I liked Wildlands. I sort of got into it. It was fairly easy from what I remember. It was a while ago that I played it, but from what I remember, I enjoyed it. And regardless of what this article says, I'm still sort of hyped to play it. It could be subpar, whatever the case is, but your boy True will be playing it and doing an after-game review, a mid-game review, maybe even both, a mid-game and an after-game review on it, and see how much this article actually holds up. So, for those of you who are excited, stay excited. Screw what the article says. Maybe this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just bringing you the news. With that being said, let's get into the next story, gamers. And into the next story. It is quite a brief one, but I do exclusively game on PlayStation 4 currently, and it is involving PlayStation and Facebook, so I figured I'd throw it in. The headline is a rumor that PS4 Facebook support will be ending soon. The very brief article states, if you're one of the many people who share their PlayStation accomplishments, gameplay clips, and more on Facebook directly from your PlayStation 4, well, those days might be numbered. As new info has surfaced mentioning that the PlayStation 4 Facebook support is ending soon. Just a rumor. Over on Reddit, user Legendary Killer B has posted a conversation his friend had with a PlayStation Network Asia support page where it mentions that PlayStation 4 Facebook support will cease on October 7th, 2019. which is tomorrow. So, there's a little screenshot, and I will have the link in the description if you want to check out this very brief article for yourself. There's a screenshot of the conversation, and it says, cut off, password correctly, please help me. And it says, hi there. For your information, PlayStation Network is no longer supporting association functions to Facebook from October 7, 2019. Please stay tuned with our notification on your PlayStation 4. We will announce this news soon. Best regards, Bruce. So it says here, some users on PlayStation 4 subreddit have mentioned trying to log in and share using Facebook on their PlayStation 4 and have been getting an error message as well. For now, though, take it with a grain of salt. We are not sure if this applies to just PS4 users in Asia or worldwide. It says here that they have contacted Sony for further clarification, and they will post an update if they get a response. So if you are a person who shares your accomplishments and clips and whatnot on your Facebook page directly from your PlayStation 4, link will be in the description to this article, so you can find out a little more for yourself if you would like to do some digging. With that being said, let's get into the next story, baby. And last, but definitely not least, as I said, I will be reporting, although a little late, it being Sunday and this video not getting up until Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, who the hell knows. I said I'd be reporting on the free downloads for PlayStation, and I'm still going to bring them to you either way. What the hell. PS4 surprise update. Download this free PlayStation console game bonus today. Says here, PS4 console gamers can download and play a brand new gaming experience this weekend using the PlayStation Store. The official PlayStation 4 games and demos list has been updated on the PS Store this weekend, and there's plenty to choose from, including free stuff to download and play alongside the rest of the standard paid content. Added earlier this week, PlayStation gamers can now grab a copy of the Bear With Me, The Lost Robots demo. This download is 5 gigabytes, a little bit less, to download on the regular PlayStation 4. The new episodic trial will be an easy game to install, seeing it's only about 5 gigs. And its quirky subject matter and gameplay style will make it one of the more unique demos available to play at no extra frickin' charge. Bear With Me, The Lost Robots was officially launched last month on the PlayStation Network, featuring a point-and-click adventure crossed with a noir setting, however you pronounce it. Noir. So, the launch of this new demo makes an excellent way for fans of Broken Sword and Grim Fandango to check out this latest offering. Developed by Exordium Games and published by Modus Games, Bear With Me, The Lost Robots is available on a number of platforms, offering different content packages. Described as a point-and-click indie adventure game, Bear With Me also offers the added bonus of being able to play on the PS Vita. This can be done using remote play feature that lets the PS Vita operate the PS4 via the wireless connection and gives you the ability to play most PS4 games away from the couch. The episodic noir point-and-click adventure series Bear With Me is back. The official game description reads, introducing Bear With Me, The Lost Robots. An all-new prequel chapter featuring Amber's brother Flint and the callous detective Ted E. Bear. Take to the gritty and bustling undergrounds of the Paper City, discovering new characters and rich lore leading up to the events of the first 3 episodes of Bear With Me. Dark interrogations, sarcastic banter, and challenging puzzles lie in store for our heroes as they collect clues and solve a bigger, more sinister mystery. Bum bum bum. Feature an evocating soundtrack, expansive narrative, and uniquely drawn 2D animated art style, accented by an impressive impressive film noir style. Bear With Me will take players through an emotional roller coaster of a journey that will determine the fates of our protagonists. As mentioned above, The Lost Robots is a prequel adventure add-on, with a complete collection also available on the PlayStation Store. Bear With Me. The Lost Robots demo has a 10+ age rating on the PlayStation Network. And the new BWM, Bear With Me, trial is just one of a number of new options that have been added to the PlayStation Store this week. Sony and Activision are running a surprise alpha test for Call of Duty Modern Warfare on the PS4. This test period is only set to run until later today and is a limited to small slice of content. But fans of the online first-person multiplayer action will no doubt want to download and check it out. The best news of all is that this new testing period does not require a PlayStation Plus membership, making it another free game to experience just for console owners. As mentioned above, there is only one mode that you can play this weekend, and it does not include a lot of players on servers. The lone mode you will be playing is a 2 vs 2 alpha. Is from its namesake a 4-player 2 vs 2 multiplayer match. A message from Activision explains. The object of the game is to eliminate the opposing duo, with every player getting the same loadout that changes every 2 rounds, along with where each team spawns. If neither team is defeated at the end of the time limit, a flag spawns, and 10 seconds overtime begins. The team that captures the flag, which takes 3 seconds to capture, or the team to wipe out their opponent, wins the round. Should the round end with neither team eliminating nor the flag captured, the duo has the highest combined health wins. That sounds okay. With the round ending in a draw, in a rare case that both teams end with the exact same health. The first team to win 6 rounds takes the match. Gamers with a PlayStation Plus membership can still download and play Wipeout the Omega Collection and Sniper Elite 4 for free until early September. With that being said, folks, gamers, people, family, my subscribers, my friends, those who give me the time of their day to watch these videos, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support. Again, if you're looking to support the channel directly, check me out at TrueMasterson on Twitch, True MasterSon, True without the E, no space, Masterson, TrueMasterson. There is a donate button on the bottom of that page. There's also a subscribe button to link you to my YouTube page, which is where I'm trying to grow. Also, I am a step away from being an affiliate on Twitch, and Twitch is now implementing that affiliates can make a small chunk of change off ad revenue, so it would be helpful to have some people watch my streams on Twitch. All of that being said, I thank you guys for checking in to watch this video. If you've made it this far, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Watch my streams on Twitch. I have yet to come up with a solid schedule, but that will be happening soon. It's probably looking like a Tuesday and Thursday stream and a news video on the weekend, but I'm not sure yet. Until the next time, my people, my family, my folks, and my friends, this is the news. Over and out.